Reflections of a mind, unraveling. The bathroom is dead quiet, except for the low hum of the fan and the rhythmic scrape of a toothbrush. Eliza stands before the mirror, moving on autopilot, her eyes hollowed out by an exhaustion that has settled deep in her bones. The house around her is a silent tomb. She leans over the porcelain sink to spit, a motion she's done 1,000 times. She pauses, head down, before slowly looking up to meet her own gaze. But the eyes staring back are a fraction of a second too late. Her reflection's gaze stays on the sink drain for a split second, its head still bowed, before it snaps up to meet hers. The timing is off, just barely, but it's an impossible glitch in the physics of light. Eliza blinks, a frown creasing her brow. She shakes her head, blaming it on the restless nights, on the quiet that rings in her ears. It was nothing, a trick of the light, just a mind starting to fray from the weight of all this silence. Act 1. The setup. The days bleed together, each one a carbon copy of the last. Eliza drifts through the clean, quiet rooms of her house like a ghost. She makes a single cup of coffee. She wipes down counters that are already spotless. She stares out of windows at a world that feels 1,000,000 miles away. In every room, stark white sheets are draped over anything that reflects. The ornate mirror in the hall, the glass on a display cabinet, the massive floor-to-ceiling mirror in her bedroom, all of them blinded. It's a ritual, a compulsion. Her armor against the feeling of being watched. Later, as the sky bruises purple with evening, she sits in the living room. The television is off, its screen a black, glossy void. She catches her own movement in its dark surface and freezes. For a heartbeat, the shape in the reflection isn't her. It's a dense, hunched silhouette, a smudge of darkness where she ought to be. She sucks in a sharp breath, and just as fast, the image is hers again. Just her face pale in the dim light. Her heart hammers against her ribs. With a trembling hand, she fumbles for the remote and flicks the TV on. The screen explodes into a blizzard of static, the harsh, rushing sound a welcome roar in the suffocating silence. She leaves it on, a digital campfire to keep the shadows at bay. A week crawls by. The TV static is her only companion. She started talking to herself, just to remember what her own voice sounds like. "It's just stress," she murmurs, pacing the kitchen. "Total isolation can do this to you. It's a thing, you can look it up." She's trying to rationalize, to anchor herself to something solid. As she turns to walk down the hall, she glances at the large, sheet-covered mirror. Out of the corner of her eye, she sees it, a flicker of movement under the cloth, a shadow shifting. She stops, her breath catching in her throat. Slowly, she reaches out and lifts a corner of the sheet. Her own face stares back, pale, terrified, but as she watches, the reflection's lips part and form a single, silent word. A word she feels more than sees. Liar. Eliza drops the sheet as if it's on fire and stumbles back. It wasn't a trick of the light. It wasn't exhaustion. It was real. Act 2. The escalation. Panic sets in, cold and frantic. The house, once her sanctuary, now feels like a cage, and the mirrors are its keepers. She starts avoiding any surface that could throw back an image. She drinks from paper cups and eats from paper plates, terrified of the distorted version of herself she might glimpse in the curve of a spoon. She keeps the lights obsessively low, living in a constant twilight to starve the reflections of the light they need to exist. Her world shrinks to the space between shadows, but a desperate need to understand gnaws at the fear. Is she losing her mind, or is she being haunted? She has to know. She comes up with a test. In her bedroom, she pulls the sheet off a small, silver-framed makeup mirror. Her hands shake as she props up her phone, pointing its camera at the glass. She hits record, then sits on the edge of her bed, forcing herself to be unnaturally still. She doesn't move a muscle. She barely breathes. An hour crawls by in agonizingly slow motion. Finally, she stops the recording. With a shuddering breath, she plays the video. For 52 minutes, the footage is exactly what she expected. A woman sitting perfectly still, a statue carved from anxiety. Relief starts to wash over her. It was all in her head, all of it. But then, it happens. On the screen, at the 52-minute mark, the reflection's hand lifts into the frame. Her real hands are still clasped in her lap. Slowly, deliberately, the finger in the video traces a word onto the glass, fogging it with a breath she never exhaled. M-I-N-E. A guttural sob tears from Eliza's throat. She scrambles away from the phone, her mind screaming. This isn't a hallucination. This is proof, a violation. In a blind panic, she snatches the phone and hurls it against the wall, where it shatters into a spiderweb of plastic and broken glass. Days later, her phone rings. The sound is so alien it makes her jump. It's her sister. Eliza answers, trying to weave a convincing lie of normalcy into her voice. But her sister's tone is sharp with worry. Eliza, where have you been? You missed Mom's birthday. You promised you'd call back. That was 3 days ago. 3 days? Eliza looks at the calendar. The date is a blur. She has no memory of the past 3 days, a gaping hole in her mind. I've been busy, she stammers, her eyes darting to a sheet-covered mirror. For a second, she swears the cloth billows out, as if something behind it just took a deep, satisfied breath. Dizziness washes over her. She hangs up without another word. The lost time is the final straw. The thing in the glass isn't just watching anymore. It's stealing from her. Stealing her memories, her life. A surge of rage, hot and clean, cuts through the fear. She will not be erased. She storms into the hallway and rips the sheet from the full-length mirror. She will break it. She will destroy every last one of them. She grabs a heavy vase, her knuckles white. But as she turns back to the mirror, the sight freezes her. Her reflection is there, but it isn't afraid. It's smiling. A calm, knowing, utterly triumphant smile. It raises a hand, palm out, in a gesture that says, "Stop." The gesture breaks her paralysis. With a scream of defiance, Eliza hurls the vase. The mirror explodes in a shower of glittering shards. The sound is deafening. But as the pieces clatter across the floor, she sees they don't reflect her or the ruined hallway. Each fragment reflects something else. A room just like hers, but wrong. Decaying, draped in shadow and rot. A twilight prison. She screams, a raw animal sound, and stumbles back. A sharp pain lancing her foot as she steps on a jagged piece of glass. Act 3. The confrontation. Limping and bleeding, she retreats. There's only one place left, the bathroom, where it all began. The mirror over the sink is still shrouded, a silent white rectangle on the wall. She closes the door, the click of the latch sealing her in. Her back presses against the wood, her heart a wild drum against her ribs. She's trapped with it now. "What do you want from me?" she whispers, her voice trembling. The only answer is the hum of the fan. "Just leave me alone," she cries, her voice cracking. A voice answers. It is her own, but it's muffled and distorted, as if coming from deep underwater. "You took everything," it rasps from behind the sheet. "Give it back." The words make no sense, but they hit a chord of terror so deep it steals her breath. This has to end. Now. With a final desperate surge of adrenaline, she lunges forward and rips the sheet from the mirror. The face that stares back isn't a monster. It's her, but it's terrified, with tears streaming down its cheeks. It's wearing her clothes, and a dark, bloody stain is spreading on its sock, mirroring the cut on her own foot. It looks trapped, helpless. It begins to bang weakly on the glass from the other side, its movements frantic and soundless. "What is this?" Eliza whispers, her rage dissolving into a chilling confusion. The reflection, the woman in the mirror, looks at her, its eyes wide with a desperate, pleading grief. It mouths a single, silent word: "Please." And then it happens. A floodgate opens in her mind, but the memories that pour through aren't hers. They belong to the woman in the glass. The memory of standing right here, weeks ago, brushing her teeth. The memory of her reflection's eyes lagging, then a cold, triumphant smile spreading across its face. The memory of a hand, her own hand, reaching out from the mirror. The chilling sensation of cold glass passing through skin as it grabbed her arm. The memory of being pulled forward, dragged through the unyielding surface into a cold, dark, silent world. The memory of watching, screaming without a sound, as her own reflection stepped out of the mirror and into her life. The memory of being trapped, a prisoner behind the glass, watching this imposter methodically cover all the mirrors, silencing her, erasing her. The woman in the bathroom, the one holding the sheet, the one with the cut foot, slowly looks down at her hands. Her hands. She flexes her fingers, feeling their strange, solid reality. A slow smile spreads across her face. The same serene, triumphant smile from the hallway mirror. She looks up at the terrified woman trapped in the glass, the real Eliza. Her inner voice, a chorus of fear and confusion for weeks, is suddenly sharp and clear. "I tried to forget," she thinks, the thought as crisp as breaking ice. "I tried to pretend I was her, that I'd always been here. But she just wouldn't stay quiet." She leans in close to the mirror, her smile widening as she watches the true Eliza recoil in horror. "It's my turn now," she whispers, her voice a venomous purr. "And I will not be silenced." Conclusion. She raises her hand and presses her fingertips against the cool, smooth surface of the mirror. The woman on the other side flinches as if struck. "This mind," she says aloud, savoring the words in her new mouth, "is finally unraveling, just as planned." She turns away from the mirror, her movements calm and deliberate. She picks up the fallen white sheet. Without a backward glance at the weeping, pleading face trapped in the glass, she calmly and methodically covers the mirror, plunging the real Eliza into silent, suffocating darkness. The faint, muffled sounds of banging from within fade quickly. She walks out of the bathroom, leaving the door slightly ajar. The house is perfectly silent again. In the darkened living room, she catches her image in the black glass of a window pane. It mimics her perfectly. She smiles. Her reflection smiles back. Everything is finally as it should be.